Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you about Chapter 11, Drinking Alcohol Responsibly. What are our learning outcomes? We're going to explain the physiological, behavioral, biochemical effects of alcohol absorption and alcohol metabolism. We're going to talk about short-term and long-term effects of alcohol consumption. We're going to describe college use of alcohol, and we're going to describe drinking and driving and the negative impact that has on society. So what is alcohol? Alcohol is a chemical compound, ethyl alcohol or ethanol. Yeast makes alcohol from plant sugars by breaking down those sugars in the absence of oxygen, producing a small chemical compound. Here it is, C2H5OH, ethanol. The process of fermentation is the process by which yeast break down sugars to yield ethanol, and distillation is the process by which we make concentrated alcoholic drinks, things like spirits, vodka, whiskey, tequila, and so forth. Now, alcohol has been studied carefully, and this meta-analysis in the Lancet journal looks at the effects of alcohol on all-cause death. You may have heard things like, oh, a glass of wine a day is healthy, or some other pieces of news about alcohol. And I'd like to put that in context because it has been well studied. This graph shows the number of standard drinks per day on the bottom axis, and then on the y-axis we have the relative risk of death. And what you can see is with increasing standard daily drinks, anything above one standard daily drink per day elevates the risk of death, and that dramatically increases as the number of daily drinks increases. These graphs show the effects of alcohol on a variety of different diseases. In the top left-hand corner, you can see the effect of alcohol on breast cancer. You can see that drinking alcohol elevates the risk for breast cancer. Then in the top right-hand corner, you can see the relative risk of death with ischemic heart disease with alcohol consumption. You can see as the number of drinks increases, there is a tiny decrease in the risk of ischemic heart disease. This is what a lot of people mention when they say, well, alcohol prevents heart attacks and ischemic heart disease. Unfortunately, that effect is very, very small, and you can see by the large error bars there, not significant. We can go through each of these diseases, but the bottom line is, in no case does alcohol have effects that are greater than alcohol's damaging effects on society in the case of causing accidents. Unfortunately, 1 to 3% of all accidents, all death from accidents, can be attributed to alcohol. Okay, so we were talking here, or the Lancet was talking a little bit about standard drinks. What are we talking about with standard drinks? A standard drink is the amount of any beverage that contains about 14 grams of pure alcohol. Things like a 1 regular can of beer, or 5 fluid ounces of wine, or a shot of spirits. Proof, on the other hand, you might see this on some spirits. Proof is a measure of the percentage of alcohol in a beverage. But for this class, we're going to talk about standard drinks. So how is alcohol absorbed? Alcohol is absorbed very quickly. It starts with absorption directly through the stomach into the bloodstream. About 20% of alcohol is absorbed from the stomach straight into the bloodstream. About 80% will pass through the stomach and into the small intestines where it is absorbed. The concentration of blood alcohol is affected by how much is consumed and how quickly. the amount of food in the stomach can slow down absorption. How quickly your stomach empties, again, that's affected by how full your stomach is. Your rate of metabolism and your body weight, your body mass index. These things all affect the concentration of alcohol in your blood. So how is alcohol absorbed? The pyloric valve at the bottom of your stomach releases contents of your stomach into the intestine. That valve can be affected by carbonation. So carbonated beverages can increase the rate at which your stomach will empty and increase the rate at which alcohol will enter your intestines and be absorbed. High levels of intakes of alcohol can cause spasming of the pyloric valves, and that can prevent the stomach from emptying. When that occurs, you can get a lot of irritation in the stomach, and that can cause vomiting. Oftentimes you'll see people who had too much alcohol too quickly will get irritated stomach linings and can throw up. That's very dangerous. They can lose the mucus lining on their stomach and cause damage to the stomach. Mixing alcohol with energy drinks is risky behavior because energy drinks, particularly fizzy drinks, can increase the rate of intoxication, again because of the fizzy bubbles there activating the pyloric sphincter and allowing the alcohol to enter the intestines quickly and the alcohol to be absorbed more quickly. Yeah, here we look. Less than 0.1% and very small effects, 0.1 to 0.4% blood alcohol. You can see muscle relaxation, mild euphoria, but increased sociability and talkativeness, 0.05 to 0.07, lowered alertness, impaired judgment, and then levels of alcohol at which people are always impaired, 0.08 to 0.14% and above, slowed reaction times, blurred vision, ultimately loss of consciousness and probable death when blood alcohol levels reach 0.35% and above. Now, alcohol does affect people differently. People who have larger body masses can absorb alcohol more slowly. Some people absorb alcohol more slowly than others. Eating and drinking can slow down the entry of alcohol into the blood, but also your expectation can alter the effects of alcohol as well. Men and women do have different reactions to alcohol. Women tend to have more body fat and less water, which means the blood alcohol concentration can rise more quickly in most women. And women have about half as much alcohol dehydrogenase as men, which means that women typically metabolize the alcohol in their bloodstream slower than men. For this reason, it is recommended that women have no more than 3 standard drinks a day, and men up maximum of 4. Weekly no more than 7 or no more than 14. Anything more than that, we're looking at potential alcohol abuse and alcoholism. Okay, the duration of effects. The duration of the effect of alcohol depends on your body weight and the number of drinks consumed per hour. You can see here that 1 drink per hour can sometimes impair women from 100 through 180 pounds, where for men, 2 drinks an hour will sometimes impair men from 120 through 220 pounds. So it really doesn't take very much alcohol at all to impair many people. Short-term effects of alcohol. Alcohol or drinking suppresses the central nervous system. Alcohol is diuretic, so it can increase urinary output. After heavy drinking, people often suffer from morning after effects, hangovers. Unfortunately, there is no cure for a hangover, despite the attempts of many people to sell you a cure for a hangover. It doesn't occur. Hangovers are thought to result from the diuretic effects of alcohol, reducing cerebral spinal fluid, decreasing the amount of spinal fluid around the brain and the spinal cord, and causing headaches and aches and pains throughout the body. Alcohol will also irritate the gastrointestinal system. Sometimes you'll see that with people throwing up because of loss of stomach lining from irritation of alcohol in the stomach. Let's take a look at alcohol's health effects on the nervous system, slowed reaction times, in the senses, dulled senses, broken capillaries, flushing of the skin, heart and lungs decreased respiratory rates, stomach can be causing nausea, irritation, inflammation, increased urine production, decreased sexual function, memory impairment in the brain, lowered immune system function, weakened heart, elevated blood pressure, the liver, increased risk of liver cancer and fatty liver disease or cirrhosis of the liver, and the digestive system, that inflammation. In the bones, you can see increased risk of osteoporosis, and the reproductive system can be negatively impaired in both men and women with excessive alcohol consumption. And one of the most common problems with alcohol abuse is liver disease or cirrhosis of the liver, resulting in alcoholic hepatitis. There is no cure for this other than liver replacement. And here we see the image of a cirrhotic liver on the bottom compared to a normal healthy liver on the top. And you can see the damage that is done by drinking. And alcohol has negative consequences on pregnancy, can cause fetal alcohol syndrome. Fetal alcohol syndrome is the third most common birth defect and the second leading cause of mental retardation in the United States. Fetal alcohol syndrome results in mental retardation, small head size, facial abnormalities or limb abnormalities, heart and brain abnormalities, can impair cognitive function, and results in poor problem-solving ability in children that are affected with fetal alcohol syndrome. It's a very serious condition. Do not drink when pregnant. Alcohol at college. A large number of students report consuming alcohol at college. About 38% of all college students describe episodic binge drinking, and that can result in a large number of negative consequences for those students. Here we take a look at it. Those negative consequences, 29% say that the binge drinking resulted in a behavior that they later regretted or loss of memory. 20% described having unprotected sex when drunk. Let's be clear, you must always obtain consent, and consent with a drunk person is not consent. Physical injuries occur for people that binge drink. About 11% of binge drinking people had some sort of physical injury, trouble with police, or injuring another person. All are possible consequences, negative consequences of binge drinking. Alcohol at college, negative consequences. Yeah, the number of students that experience negative consequences is illustrated by unintentional injuries and deaths in 18 to 24-year-olds, where alcohol is the leading contributor to death in this age group, and one of the most tragic and preventable causes of death is drinking and driving. Do not under any circumstances drink alcohol, binge drink alcohol and drive, or indeed hop in a car with anybody who has been binge drinking and driving. This is the most common way for death to occur in 18 to 24-year-olds at college. Just don't do it. Traffic accidents, yeah, the leading cause of accidental death from 5 to 65 years old. About 1 in every 3 deaths, or nearly 10,000 fatalities a year, are related to alcohol. And sometimes that is a drunk driver killing another person. Recent surveys show that up to 22% of college students have reported driving under the influence of alcohol. Again, just don't do it. Stop somebody. Take the keys away. Don't let anybody else do it either. Percentage of fatally injured drivers with blood alcohol content greater than 0.8% by driver, 1982 to 2014. You will see that there is a trend here for this to start declining, so I think we are making some progress here. I think we're making some progress here because people are recognizing the dangers of drinking and driving. So some ideas for drinking responsibly. First, eat before you start drinking. Stay with the same group of friends. Make sure that you have a designated driver. Swap alcoholic drinks and non-alcoholic drinks. Don't have more than 1 alcoholic drink per hour. Set limits on your drinking before you leave and stick to them. Commit yourself to limiting alcohol intake at every social function. Definitely avoid drinking games, and certainly do not ever drink and drive.